Welcome to Resources for People Leaders. Now, we have a lot of resources that people leaders can use to host team workshops, to host workshops for everyone in their workplace. But this section here is resources that can help you train people leaders. And by people leaders, we mean supervisors, managers, HR professionals, even consultants or people that lead teams of any kind. And it's really to help them hone their leader skills. These resources are free to anyone. They're no cost, thanks to Canada Life, and they're available for download in French and English. So here we go. The first workshop that I want to share with you, and there's many more, but I've just chosen a few to highlight here. Supporting task improvement. Have you ever had an employee where you're trying to get them to do a task correctly? You feel like you had the talk that they said, yes, we've got it, and they go away and it continues to be done incorrectly. What supporting task improvement is a way to help an employee improve their work on a specific task in a way that is psychologically safe for them and effective for you. So first, we consider what stressors the employee might be in. We think about how we can build productive relationships with our employees, and we go through a process called task improvement using a worksheet and materials that are provided for you, and we learn how to measure the actual task completion in a way that sets everybody up for success. So we start with a rule out rule, thinking that could this person be dealing with a health issue, whether it's a mental health issue or a physical health issue that is getting in the way of them completing that task successfully. We want to rule that out so that this doesn't appear to them or feel to them like it is discrimination on the basis of a disability, but also so that you are able to get agreement that they can and they will commit to improving the performance. So we look at the workload stress that they have now, what could be causing it. We talk about acknowledging somebody's perspective without necessarily agreeing with it. You may think they're all wrong, but that's not the point. When we want to really listen to understand their perspective, we just want to say, do I understand how you see this? And get acknowledgement that you do, because now it's easier for you to go forward, knowing how they really feel about it. The task improvement process walks you through step by step with the questions to ask and the ways to do it. We start from before you even see the employee, during the meeting, when you then get a turn in the workshop to actually try it out with a partner, so that you're really sort of getting that experience before you have to try it out on your employees. And we talk about the follow-up meeting, how you will make sure that the task is being performed correctly now, and that it's not just that revolving door of thinking that it's been dealt with and finding that it was not. We talk about the next steps and how you go forward if it was successful, and how you go forward if it was not successful, so that, again, you don't stay stuck. You're able to move towards either progressive discipline if it's necessary, or to improving the next task if you end up being successful and on a roll and wanting to continue to help that employee. We teach additional techniques, and we give you resources. Things like, how do you listen without interjecting your pearls of wisdom, your approach, your advice, when you know that it's not likely going to be nearly as effective as getting the employee to commit to the change themselves. Things like avoiding blame and shame, how that shuts people down and makes them defensive. And really understanding that when any of us get the answer no to something, we may also shut down or become defensive. And how can we not say yes necessarily, but find out why they're asking for it? And we can often give people what they need, even if we don't give them what they originally asked for. We can send you to information for developing a really comprehensive workplace plan for employees that have multiple issues, not just one task, but multiple issues that need to be addressed. How do you develop that kind of a plan? And how you can support their success at work using a very comprehensive set of tools and resources. As with most of our workshops, we ask participants to think about what you will do differently. So for this supporting task improvement, who's going to facilitate it? It may be a human resources professional. It may be the manager of managers. It may be an outside consultant or facilitator. The point is that this is meant to bring together leaders to help develop their skills, and it can be facilitated by anyone who can pick up these materials and help them through that process. Resolving conflict is very similar. It's about teaching leaders how to resolve conflict in both an informal and a formal way that really preserves the dignity and respect of each individual involved, and understands that sometimes people who have conflict are dealing with mental health issues, life stressors, or other things that makes the standard approach to mediation overwhelming. So in this one, what we're really focused on is getting an agreement that talks about how we will behave in the future, rather than an agreement that points out who did what, who was right, and who was wrong. This is the way that we support the dignity of all parties. We do it differently because instead of bringing people together to tell their story, we do private interviews, one with each of the parties, so that they can feel safe to be able to talk. You draft an agreement based on what you've heard in these interviews that applies the same way to both parties, regardless of rank. Because it's not talking about the way work is assigned, it's not talking about authority or responsibility, it's talking about the way people will interact with each other. And you let the individuals review it on their own and express any concerns that they have about it before you finalize it. Then you bring the parties together. So both have seen it, both have agreed to it. And the thing about this process is both of them feel that it's honoring the pain that they were going through in regards to the conflict, because I've rarely seen a conflict where both parties don't feel that the only reason they behaved that way was because of the other person. So this is a way to let people keep their dignity intact, but agree to behave and interact in a different way going forward. And then the last piece is that there's an accountability piece built into this, where you don't just let this go, you continue to hold the people accountable to what was in the agreement. So we ask these 3 questions. What do you need to work professionally with this person? What will you do differently to contribute to a successful working relationship? And how will you deal with future issues? In the workshop, we expand on those to really show you how to use them, what the follow-up questions are, and what makes this so much more effective, especially when it's an emotionally charged situation. So then we set the exercise up where the leaders can pair up and take on the role. They actually create the agreement, and they think about, again, what they'll do differently, how they will incorporate this in their day-to-day. This workshop, again, can be facilitated by someone from human resources, by a trainer or facilitator, by a leader of leaders, or if you want to, you could actually go through the material just yourself if you were really interested in what was in there. There's also for leaders a variety of assessments. Some of them are here. So Psychologically Safe Leader lets you rate yourself on a series of statements about leadership strategies that are known to support positive psychological health and safety, like checking in one-on-one with your employees. And what you do is you rate the extent to which you do that. What's beautiful about this is once you have done that assessment, then you are given your results, and you can also get free resources so that those strategies that you're not currently using, you can build on and increase. You also have the option in Psychologically Safe Leader of sending out a similar survey to your employees on the exact same psychologically safe leader strategies, but from their perspective. Have they seen you do this? Do they believe that you would do this? Because their perception may be different than yours, but what it gives you is an opportunity then to improve communication, to talk to your employees about what you would do if they were struggling, if they needed help. Guarding Minds at Work is an assessment to look at the employees' perceptions of psychological health and safety in the workplace. We'll do more on Guarding Minds at Work in another video, but there's so much that's in there that could really help both a team and an entire organization to transform into a more high-functioning, higher energy, thriving workplace. Emotional intelligence is a self-assessment where you can measure the level of emotional intelligence you have about your own emotions and your own behaviors, as well as about how you respond to the emotions and behaviors of others. And just like with Psychologically Safe Leader, if there's any area that you want to do some work on, free resources are attached to each of the statements so that you can really drill down to that piece that you need to allow you to build your own emotional intelligence. The Mindful Employee is a resource that helps employees understand their responsibility to building a psychologically healthy and safe workplace. We describe it on our website, and it is housed at the Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety and was provided by the Mental Health Commission of Canada. We've got two smaller assessments, and they're not a diagnostic tool. But what they do is they look at the risk factors for burnout from an organizational level. So is your team, is your organization putting people at risk of burnout, and to what extent, and what can you do about it? And the individual one is, do you exhibit the signs of burnout? And if you do, what can you do about it? All of these assessments, like everything that's on the Workplace Strategy site, are available in English and French, free for download to anyone. We hope that you'll use them yourself or with your team. There's also a subscription series that you can use, not just for yourself. Of course, Psychologically Safe Leadership is specifically for leaders. Mental health awareness and healthy break activities are for anyone, as are the e-blasts and the e-newsletter. But here's how you, as a leader, might use them. For instance, with mental health awareness, if you subscribe and get it sent to you, you can read it, add your own thought or impression about it, and then send it out to your entire team. It's a way for you to build mental health awareness among your team at no cost to you and with very little effort. The amount of time that people have to spend on these emails, some of them are little video clips, some of them are documents, some of them are just bringing you to a web page, but the amount of time that you have to spend on them is usually less than 5 minutes. And yet over a year, you can have 52 little nuggets of information on mental health awareness, on a break activity that might be good for their mental or physical health, or on leadership skills. So we strongly suggest that you subscribe, then make your decision. This is something that you want to pay forward in a way that helps your team. So all of this and more is available on our website, which is the section on assessments, tools, and workshops. And you'll be able to find all the different topics here, and you can go into any of them and look and see what's available. There's so much more than we can cover in this short video that I really encourage you to check it out. And remember that everything is free in English and French at workplacestrategiesformentalhealth.com.